Hi, Daniel. Welcome. Hello, guys. Welcome. Thanks for coming. Let me share it. Welcome. Let's see. Hi, Patila. Thanks for coming, Patila. Yeah, we'll be just casually discussing House of Dragon tonight. If you watch it, you can just join the conversation. Patila, how are you? Patila, we'll start watching movie name, you know, Patila.
Uh, yeah, so this episode they start off at the wall, and this is the first time in House of Dragon that we actually get to meet Cregan Stark. So last season, Jace flew to gather allies for Rhaenyra's side. So when the season opened, we start with him trying to convince Cregan to remember the oath that they swore to Rhaenyra and get him and a lot of the other northern houses on their side.
Thanks for coming, Bud Files. Because everybody are trying to recruit people to their side. You have the green and you have the black.
Yeah, but what I like about this part is that
Mhm.
they. So if you watch original Game of Thrones, you know why the wall important. But this episode start with one monologue from Cregan when he's talking about the night watch and the important duties.
Mhm.
And even though nobody know what's behind the wall, you only hear the rumors. But we knew that it's the White Walkers behind the wall. And when he asked Jace, like, if you thought my ancestors built a 700-foot wall
Well,
just to
just
keep
keep
out
out.
savages and
I
the
know
weather.
that, and this is the hit because all I hear was the wall, the wall, the wall. What is the wall for? The wall was actually built to keep up the night walkers. But the thing is, some of them not believe in the night walkers.
So at this point, we get the letter from Yeah, at this point, we get a letter from Dragonstone. Um, or it tells Luke died. So in season one, Luke died, and we're just getting that letter. The other part now, so we get to see this episode. We get to see everybody on Team Black and how what they're doing. So we have Rhaenys who fly around on her dragon Melees, and she's patrolling the water, blocking off trade from King's Landing, so they can't get any goods or food, no export, right? So they're trying to slowly starve them out. And when she comes back in, we see said like she's dirty and she's tired because like a miles she a fly the dragon,
Mm.
patrolling the sea.
Yeah, she alone. And then Damon want her to go out back with him just as she come. 'Cause she was tired and the dragon was also tired too, right?
Mm. And this is when we start see, some of the problems with.
I'm sorry. No, no, Patilla. Yes, Patilla. People live behind the wall, but the wall is to keep out the you would have said the living dead. We call them night walkers, but the living dead.
Yeah, so we start see some of the problems with, the black, right? Because while Rhaenyra absent, because she's mourning the death of her son, we have Daemon who wants to go to, like Harrenhal and the different places and carry out the war, but Rhaenys just to tell him like, cool and just wait till the queen comes back because she's in mourning. He wants to speed things along. And, in this episode, they're just Damon really taking out him anger upon everybody.
Blame everybody. Blaming game. Them play blame game. Oh yes, Patilla. Thank you.
Yeah, so my favorite part about this scene is when, Damon I try order for go back out for ride with him.
Oh no, Patilla. Who killed her son was actually our brother. Our brother killed our son because actually them a fight for power. So the son went to make peace. Then go for recruit people on his side and the same place where the son go. The uncle was there also because they want the same set of people for join their team. So when the little boy a fly upon his dragon to go home, but the uncle kill him. And the dragon tear him to pieces. Then couldn't find the body Patilla. Yes, yes. Power. It's all about power.
Yeah, and so this episode, says that Rhaenyra, she's been searching for some remain or some signs that, her son dead because she refused to believe that he's actually dead. So she's, you can see on her face, she's tired too, also. And so she's just been flying on Cyrax, going from the path from Storm's End to Dragonstone, that entire stretch, which is a long stretch.
That is our the mother searching for the son that the dragon kill. Cause string fell out of the ear. The body, neither the body nor the dragon was not found. So she out a search for him. So that is her out searching for her son.
Because Rainice was explaining to Damon, say, she's a mother will hear secondhand that her child died. So
Mm-hmm.
until she see the body herself or get some confirmation for herself, she won't be able to move on with her grief and go to like the next step.
Which is right. Mm-hmm.
So she and in
Hi
this
Vivian, welcome sis. Thanks for coming.
episode she gets her proof, right? The fishermen, you know, drag up their nets and them find the dragon wing. So pieces of Arax's wing and part of the boy's clothes. So that's when she, swoop down on Syrax quickly and, hold the shawl that the son was wearing, and then she break down and cry. But my so what was your favorite scene this episode?
Sir Lannister fighting the baby for the ball. Let's like that part. And I don't know, I guess Rainier. Everything like concern Rainier.
Yeah, so we get some good example this episode. Aegon just not being.
Okay, Viv, thanks. Thank you. I appreciate.
Yeah, we get some good example. Aegon not being, fit to be king. So we all know that before, but in this episode, the one of the funniest scenes is when him have the baby in the important meeting discussion, right? So they're talking about the war, and then you have this little. So Jahair is not how much no. I don't know. I don't think he's past 3 at this stage. And he's taking a little ball off of the table, and you have the master coins, which are the person who control all the money in the kingdom. I fight the baby for the ball.
That was hilarious, P. Besides, I enjoy that part. I really enjoy that part of it. Because we're like, leave the baby with the part. And matter of fact, why the baby that one council meeting in the first place? Why was the baby at a council meeting? Hmm? What the poor baby can learn, say.
Yeah, and in this meeting, we say, Aegon doesn't take the meeting seriously. So he's, just as bored in the meeting as, the little baby, right? Because even when they finally remove the baby from the council meeting, he slides back in his chair and he's yawning and barely paying attention to anything that's going on. So you kind of start to see somebody cracks in Team Green's leadership and their entire structure.
Yeah, leadership, not good, the king. King, I know. Man, I want good king. And then we could even say the baby was a distraction because the baby never even did a distract nobody.
Yeah, actually, went very quiet,
Yeah,
right? Because the only thing he just took up the ball off of the table, and, and that really was it. But because the ball really is important, to be honest.
hello,
They use
Amen. Thanks for coming. Thank you. Okay, thanks.
it to, represent the council votes on affairs, but at the same time,
Patila, I am telling you, the man is a council member, Patila, and then bring the little baby in the council meeting because them a groom him to be the future king. You see the little baby, and the baby see one ball on the table and actually I play with the ball, Patila. And the man, the big man a fight the little baby for the ball in the particular. And the baby insists the baby father is the king. And the king now want to amuse the baby. So he actually asked the man, to get up and go make the baby ride him. What is a baby? When you say donkey back ride or
Yeah,
horse
pony
back
back
ride?
ride, pony ride, right in the middle of the council meeting, and that's when you have to have Alison trying to wrangle back the discussion to the serious matters,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Because she's like, and they blame. Well, I really something that the lot of stuff faults for real. Because if you never just stop interrupt the meeting with the baby,
Yeah, true, honestly.
honestly, it was.
Cause I live like with the left the baby play with the ball, but no.
Mm.
Hi Maxi. Thanks for coming.
And to me, the person. So Aegon, this episode, was very funny.
Mm-hmm.
We have Aegon, and him still feeling hype that he's the king, and you have him and him yes men. So when they were taking, the time when they're supposed to listen to the petition from the small folk or the ordinary people, right? And you had this guy talk about him sheep. So they took 10% of the man's sheep, 10% of the man's sheep for the war effort.
Made it, so all this time me thinks that they did dragon them get the sheep.
No, that's why them take the sheep. Them
Oh,
take it for
oh,
the
oh.
war. So like
Yeah. Oh.
the places where them need to go, so them take the sheep because they're
Mm-hmm.
going to be food for the dragon. Them when wherever they go, so they want the sheep there in the
Oh,
reserve.
yeah.
So all of the farmers, them and so then take
Mm-hmm.
they call it tides. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so then take
Oh.
tithes from the people. But the man,
The king, Patila. Aegon is the king and the baby is his son.
so the guy come to the meeting to see if anything can be done, and Aegon promised to give him back the sheep. But the thing is, they do need the sheep for the war, and he doesn't know that as king. So you have his advisor, which is Otto, who's the hand of the king, have to go up to the throne and whisper to him, say, sir, we can't return the sheep. We can't
Mm-hmm.
return the sheep because we need it for the war. We have to feed the dragon them and the man them when them go out.
Because if you return one person sheep, everybody will come back to get compensation
Yeah.
for their
Because
sheep. I
so what him
Patila.
says like, can't we return his sheep since he came all the way? But just like a voice out says that, if you return one farmer sheep, all of the other farmers then gonna want back for them sheep too.
Say welcome, Patila.
So in this entire petition section, we see Aegon. He won't be one good
Thanks for
king.
coming, Mayfair. Thanks for coming, Amirs.
Somebody want to join the panel.
Mayday. Mayday, Ali, do you watch House of Dragons? We're just having a cordial discussion, maybe. You can join if you want in the chat. It's okay. Oh, you were disappointed yesterday? What were you looking for? I know yesterday about it. I'm very disappointed in yesterday episode. What exactly were you looking for yesterday?
Yeah, because some people are disappointed, especially the book readers. Um, all right, before you, so which team? Team Black or Team Green?
Fact, true, true. Yes. No one. Yeah, that is a low point for you.
But I think part of it is them kind of skip that part, you know. I think it's sort of presumed merely that them talk about it before, right? Right, but that's true. A lot of people are wondering how am I gonna talk about it? Like if you're going to take responsibility, like, oh, I did it on purpose, or if you did it on
Yeah,
accident.
right, Rudy, right. Yes. I was a bit disappointed too about that. Very disappointed as a matter of fact. But maybe which team are you on? Are you team green or team black? Neither. Okay. Neither.
Yeah, for me, I'm team small folk.
You're not rooting for either side. Okay. Well, personally, I am rooting for Rhaenyra. I'm team black.
I just want a great show.
Yeah. I see a lot more dragons. I guess there's some more dragons in this season. About 17, I think.
You know, and so this entire part I did like with Aemon on the throne. You know, I think petitions not really know what him do, and you have Otto have to correct all of his mistake.
Yeah. But Arthur, really, I tell him the right thing, though, you know. But Arthur,
Ah, then Alison went crazy when Aemon lost an eye. Mm.
yeah, yes. Alice went crazy, and then Aemon now kill Rhaenyra child, so and she expect like not for go on, so I don't understand. My only thing is that they shouldn't kill the baby. They shouldn't kill the baby. I don't believe in that part at all.
But the thing is with Alison that you know what she said this episode when she was talking to Otto is that she she said to him that she was sort of defending Aemon killing Luke because she said, you know, he's still angry because, you know, Lucerys wasn't punished when he took his eye. And she's supposed to be like the holy one,
Yeah,
right? So she still have that grudge that
yeah, because she actually said. In other words, she say, I even.
Mm. Right. Uh, to be honest, they usually start the season slow for Real Melee, but I'm not gonna say them drop the ball just yet, right? We still can give them a bit more chance, right? This is not just episode one, right? We can
Yeah,
give them a little chance for this one,
yeah.
right?
Because
Because
next week look fiery.
I never really next week episode, you know, like
The
we'll
teaser
go
we will
throughout the
see.
season,
Oh,
right? So
oh,
I
oh.
never just one click for. But I can understand Melee because there are certain things, you know, we sort of did expect to happen this episode, or you know, because I expected them to take a bit more time in the north, for example. Right. Okay, sure. That's true. The blood and cheese scene, right? Because everybody expect that to be like the next red wedding, right? And the version of it that they did on the show, that was not as graphic as in the Fire and Blood books. And a lot of people, I think that part is where most of the House of Dragon community divided, right?
But maybe because of the Alison and Cole scene, that was why the floor that they live on was no maid, no servant was there. And so come the people and they get easy access to go kill the son because they actually cleared there so to have their affair. I hope you can.
To no, if this is the only time we see Cregan for real, it's gonna be pretty sad. Hmm.
On it here, so I guess.
Not tonight, but you time on the man.
I feel
Hold on, Melee. We're going to add you to the panel because you're a real fan for real. Hold on. Yeah, let's add Melee today. All right, Melee, hop up on the panel.
Be a telepathy lad, not but enough man. Well, I guess it's because of the first episode. I guess it's because of the first episode. So but it generally start out slow anyways.
The thing is, though, I understand Melee's comment about blood and cheese, though, because I was
Hi
looking forward to
Anna,
that
good
scene.
night Anna. Thanks for coming. Anna, why you peeping? Why are you peeping?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Hey guys, my fingers were getting wore out typing.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's all right. Well, what I wanted to add was with the blood and cheese scene, because I read the book, so I was expecting. I don't want to say expecting anything. That's why I'm not team black or green. I'm just hoping for a good show because I read the book, so it doesn't really
Um,
matter me rooting for a side because I know what happened. But with the blood and cheese scene, being that they went away from the book, like they could
yeah.
have did it so much better. Like, okay, give blood and
Um,
cheese 15 minutes. Let them set up the fact of how they got to get into the castle and the things they got to do. Like all of a sudden, there's no security. Aemon just killed Lucerys, and there's no security.
Exactly. That is true. Exactly.
all right, Melee, I can give them one excuse for the no security part, right?
Right.
All right. So what I was thinking is that the reason why security like was so loose on the second floor with the royals is because Kristen and Allison are currently doing their affair thing. And
Right.
earlier in that episode, Loris he mentioned say him
Yeah,
replace
he was
all of
here.
the people, the maids and some people loyal to him. So I think what happened is that she is supposed to be implied that she dismissed most of the staff. So that's why the top level was so scarce. Like you only had like that one personal maid a roam around. But I do agree with you. Like the setup for it when they're breaking into the castle and everything.
It
So
was too
I was
easy.
expecting that, them
Yeah.
going full book,
Now,
you know.
if I was me and my grandson, like we're just novice writers. I got my grandson in writing classes. He loves to do it. He got a vivid imagination, and he's asking me questions as a 7-year old, and I'm
And
like,
so
you're
coming
right.
in
I say, okay, the first night they're going to go get Eamon because they were supposed to get Eamon as they made it to be. So when they're
Right.
going to get Eamon, the plan gets foiled. There's security, and they got to pull back. So now they come back the second night and they create a distraction and they go in the room that they think is Eamon's bedroom. But really, instead of Allison sleeping with Cole,
Right.
Eamon should be sleeping with Helena because Aegon treats her like crap. And Eamon always showed her love and liked her. So let's make the little baby be Eamon's. And a blood and cheese see Eamon go in the room the night before, so they think that's
Mhm.
his room. So the next night they go in, but here it's Helena's room, and then the events happen, and now they run away, and one of them gets caught. Blood's supposed to get caught. You know what I mean? And it's just like now
and so
Eamon is
coming
so mad because maybe he's really the father. Like if they're going to go away from the source material, make it so much more better than just okay, here's a sex scene for Allison. I feel like the guys that are writing and making the show, like they just wanted to see Olivia Cook, the actress. They just wanted to see her naked because her
yeah.
sleeping with Cole, it really doesn't serve any purpose.
True, I agree with that part. I totally agree because it's the same thing my son was saying. I was saying, why? Because you expect war with all of that. Me think that
Right.
security should be tightened. Security should be tighter.
No, but
Yeah.
like even Melee's, you
Love
know,
you guys. Love you guys. Thanks for the support.
Melee's example a while ago too, right? Because he's like, if you're gonna change it, right, change it to something better.
Mhm.
And the
Yeah.
blood and tea scene in the books is so iconic, right? So when we
Yeah.
hear that this episode named Son for a Son, everybody, all the fans were like, yeah, you know, you're going to get blood and cheese. And that was more graphic, more, you know, violent than the Red Wedding. And I thought we were going to get that because they did so much setup and,
Yeah.
you know, the whole her choosing the son. Hey, and you know, they said they cut the younger son because, you know, for time reasons, right? Because they're trying to condense the timeline. So we don't have
Right.
Melo in the TV show adaptation, which is fine, right? But we still have the twins, so you still could have made her, you know, do the choice, you know, from the
Yeah. They didn't do the
yeah.
choice. Like it just it was just so disappointing because we waited 2 years. And after two
Exactly.
years, the first episode was
Exactly.
no action. No action
That's
at
true.
all. Like you gave us a sex scene. Like, come on, is that
That
the
is
best you
true.
got? Like they jumped around so much. Like they had Laris, they had Damon, they had Toussaint. I
Not,
mean not Toussaint, but
we didn't
Corliss.
even see dragons. Not even dragons
Yeah,
we
just
didn't see.
jumping around for dumbass stuff that, excuse me, didn't mean to cuss, but jumping around for scenes that meant nothing. We didn't need to see Corliss talk to that dude on the dock. They just wasted, they like
Yes,
gave
yes, yes.
everybody a scene. They gave everybody a scene, and it was just a waste. There's only 8 episodes. So get to the meat of it. And Blood and Cheese, if that would have been the one thing that, wow, it was so like, look what they did to that kid. Like, oh my God, break your heart. You know what I mean? Pull your heart out of
Yeah.
what they did to that little boy. And now everybody's like, oh God, I can't wait till next week. The Greens are going to
Right.
snap. They're going to go
Yeah, yeah.
crazy. But instead, we didn't see it.
Exactly.
It's like it just was garbage. Like, and everybody is a fan of the show, so they're so happy it's back on that people aren't
I
even really
really was
seeing it with
expecting
their
more.
eyes. They're just so happy.
I was expecting more though. I was expecting
No,
more
the blood and cheese scene was a letdown. I 100% agree with you
because
over
you
that.
read the book, right?
Yeah,
You
Yep.
but that's for the book readers. The book readers, it's a huge letdown.
Yep.
But like, all right, so I was going to say they couldn't do the beheading on HBO, but they've done a lot of violent shows on HBO, so
the
it's not
show
a
is
necessity.
bloody. It is.
They cut Ned Stark's head off. They in the
Yeah,
very
that's
first Game of Thrones, they cut that dude's
Exactly.
head off.
Exactly.
all right, but mainly it's a child, right? So we can see why they
Yeah,
might want to off screen it, right? Because
but
the
that would
son,
make it. That would make it so much. That would make it great because who would dare do that? That's a child. Everyone loves children. No one wants to hurt children. So the fact that these people are so ruthless that they cut a child's head off, it'd make TV history. The whole country, the whole world would be mad the next day. Like people that were
Yes,
on
yes.
Team Black might have jumped to Team Green. They killed a kid. It's
True.
off. Man.
True.
And like they
Exactly.
could have just had the whole world talking. I just feel like they missed the opportunity with the blood and cheese scene that could have just put this show in a different stratosphere.
I agree. Because most people, you know, because the book readers online, they were trying to tell everybody, like, you know, look out for the blood and cheese scene, you know, that scene. So that scene was supposed to be so hype, and you know, it was just so kind of anticlimactic, right?
Mm-hmm.
They changed up so much things there. I agree with you. Like this episode, we had a bunch more wasted scene, I would say. I wanted to see when Jace, you know, went to the air, when he talked to Jane, and
Yeah.
you know, those parts. I wanted to see those parts. I don't think we're going to ever see those parts.
Nope. And then when Jace came home, he got tears in his eyes. found out his brother was murdered. He goes and hugs his mom, and she doesn't say one word.
So come in.
Babe, we're gonna get him. We're not gonna take this. We're gonna get him. We're gonna do something about it. Like, I would have spent the first 15 minutes of the show of nothing but Rhaenyra flying around over the ocean, looking for her son, talking for herself. Jay, Lucerys, where are you at, baby? Where are you at? I'm looking for you. Where are you at? And then she sees the dragon wing and she goes down, and now she's distraught and she's screaming on the beach. No, God, why? You know what I mean? She's going crazy. She didn't say nothing.
Not one line.
Yeah, the one line she had is that she wants Aemon Targaryen, which I think that's why
she didn't even say, I want him dead. I want him brought to me alive. I'm going to feed him to my dragon. I want Aemon Targaryen. I'm just I'm just disgusted because I get it's a fantasy show, but they got the characters not acting real. Like, come on. When Aemon lost his eye, Alicent went crazy. She grabbed the knife. She stabbed Rhaenyra. They steal Rhaenyra's throne. They kill her son, and she doesn't even say anything. And I get not saying anything, but she also didn't do anything.
Right. So,
and then lastly, guys, before I get out of here, because I don't want to dominate the show.
Oh, no, we welcome you. It's very fun that we have a fun during the discussion. Too.
Yes, we finally got somebody who really watched the show, so we appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah,
I had three things. The first was the Rhaenyra part. I just talked about that. My second was the blood and cheese. And just the third was the fact of no one asked Aemon. You know what I mean?
That is my thing too. And Rhaenyra too. Yeah.
The off screen.
I'm totally in agreement.
That part I thought was going to be a discussion, because I think in the book when he returned, right? Even Otto was like, you only lost one eye. I think the line was something like, you only lost one eye. How could you be so blind? Because what he did kickstart the war in full. You know, killing an emissary, which is like a big no in this
there's
world.
no turning back. After he killed Lucerys, there's no turning back now. We can't even come to it.
Peace was no longer an option. And so I thought they were going to dedicate a scene to at least that, where we would have seen if what Aemon did, like we would see if he came back and he was regretful, because in the show's version, you know, Vhagar slipped out of his control, so it wasn't really his intention to kill him. Right? So we wanted to see
it was his fault, but not his fault.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we wanted to see if he was going to go back to, you know, King's Landing and claim that, like, oh, you know, it wasn't an accident. I meant to do that, because he has that type of swagger, right? He wants to be, you know,
the tough guy.
He's that type of character, tough guy, right? Or if he was going to go and be honest, like at least with Alicent, and like, you know, Mom, I didn't mean to. I wanted to scare him, or I never wanted to kill him, right? So we
see. That's in my mind, I said, okay. Aemon goes and he tells Alicent first, and she's like, "Son, what happened?" He's like, "It was an accident. I didn't mean to do it." And then he goes and tells Aegon, and Aegon pats him on the back. And now he's like with Aegon, and he's acting like he meant to do it. Like, you know what I mean? You could have had a chance to look inside his brain to see who he really is. Is he really this vicious, savage guy? Because for me, honestly, I think they miscast Aemon. That guy's a pipsqueak. He does not inspire fear. If this was real life, if he didn't have a dragon, he's like a man with a machine gun walking down the street. If he didn't have that machine gun, 95 out of 100 people would beat his ass.
But I guess really that's kind of a part of the show, though, you know, right? The only reason why
I get all that. You know, I'm not going to crucify him for that part, but I just would want to find out who is Aemon, because when he was a little boy, he wasn't that bad. Like, he always looked at Aegon like, grow up, do your duty. Like, he seemed like a good person in spite of what the Targaryens in the High Towers were browbeating him with. Like, Aemon seemed like
Right,
one, like he said.
because he was
I
the responsible
I
one.
study the sword. He studies philosophy. You know, if he was betrothed to Helena, he would do his duty. Like, you know, I don't know. I just want to know who is Aemon. Like, is he? Because what we really saw was he said no, Vagar. He didn't want to do it. But let's see how he
Right.
handles it after. You know.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to see as well. Uh, but we didn't get that. And this we don't know if this tough guy persona is like a shell, if he's still that soft boy that started the
Right.
series.
I want to know what's
Man.
going to happen. What do you think is going to happen when he finds out, or are they going to let him find out that Cole's sleeping with his mother?
Okay. That part. I don't know, right? Because for me, would he care?
No.
Yeah, that's what I
I
mean.
don't
That's the next thing.
No.
Is he going to care? Are they going to make that the fact that they showed it? Are they going to make that a thing in the show now because you showed it? So why'd you tell us this? Or like, is that going to make him and Aemon fall out? Or is Aegon going to get mad? Or are they not going to care? Or are they going to think that they were doing this behind their father's back? And Mom, you harped on Rhaenyra all these years, and you're sleeping with
Yeah.
Cole. Like, I never understood why they so concerned about who her kid's dad is. Like, who she has in her bed is
Um,
nobody's business. They did make her marry a gay man that wouldn't sleep with her.
the,
yeah.
What's a woman
the
to
thing
do?
is, with that one, Mele, is, it shows both the hypocrisy of Cole
Yeah.
and Allison. Because
And that's a
Cole,
human emotion, so that makes it good. Go ahead. I couldn't hear you. Can you hear me? I can't hear you guys.
oh yeah, know about that. So I was saying with Cole, how he had that grudge about with for Rhaenyra, how he was so bitter that she wouldn't leave the throne to run away with him, right? And because he was like, "Oh, you want me to be your whore?" And we have him here doing
The
the same
same
thing
thing
with
with
Allison.
Allison.
And one line from season one that I really loved, Melee,
Yes.
was when Rhaenyra grabbed Allison's hand when the same scene when she was fighting, when she wanted to stab the baby back for Aemon's eye. That scene when Rhaenyra says, "It must be so tiring hiding, under the cloak of your
Yes.
own self-righteousness." That scene
Everyone
was
sees who
so
you
perfect.
are now.
Yes, Priscilla,
Yes.
it is.
See, that's what I mean. Like season one, I'm scared that with season two, they're going to give us a bunch of dragons and a bunch of Dracarys, and they're going to get away from what made the show great. Lines like that. You know what I mean? Wasn't it hard? Now they see you for who you really are. You know, that
Yes,
was an
that part.
awesome line. That's an
Exactly.
awesome line.
Yes.
Like, that's human beings. Like Allison getting mad at Rhaenyra and talking bad about her and then turning around and doing the same thing. That's what human beings do. You know what I mean?
Yes,
That's what
Mm,
right.
people do. People say one thing but do another and try to act holy. And I pay my bills and I don't steal and I don't talk bad about anyone. And you steal and you talk bad about everybody. So you know what I mean? Like that's what makes the show good. I think that they really had good dialogue, good lines, and then you
yes.
throw in like George R. Martin is a phenomenal writer, and I just hope they don't mess it up all the way.
But isn't he like heavily involved in this show? He's like a consultant for it or something, if I remember correctly.
Well, it said a little bit like with season one, like the first couple episodes he was, but once he trusted him, he kind of fell back a little bit.
Ah,
And they
okay.
said season 2, he really wasn't even around that much. He went, I think he said because I watch everything. Like I watch everything about this show, and like interviews from the cast and him doing interviews. He went to Ireland when they did some filming, and he went to Spain where they had Rhaenyra kneel, and Damon put the crown on her head. Like that was a special place for them, and he went there. But as of like right now, he hasn't really been doing too much. I guess he was telling them about the blood and cheese, but it just looks like I just can't believe that they just like ho hummed that. They like poo pooed it like it wasn't nothing. And that was one of the
Yeah.
major things. Like those guys dropped the ball. I mean, well, really, it was blood and cheese to go kill the little boy, but they added that. They put that in there. He's looking for Aemon and all that. And,
Yeah.
it went wrong. But you murdered a little boy. Who does that? Like if you're Team Black, that might have pulled your heart out and switched you up.
Right. Right.
You
That's
know what I
true.
mean?
Right?
Like, no, like,
Yeah.
she gets the
That
throne.
is
She should
true.
have the throne, but you don't be killing no little 4-year-old boy over no throne.
Right.
Yeah, because I guess that is why she gonna be upset about that, because she made it clear, She never say kill any son,
Which is a
Mm-hmm.
difference from the books, because
Yeah.
in the books it was, like the episodes of Son for Son, so they
Son
didn't
for
care
son.
who, as long as I'm not, it
As long
wasn't
as it's the son.
specifically for Aemon, but for the show they went with, Aemon is the target. But I think I don't know, because this has so much future implications, right? So there is it that they're setting up a potential Rhaenyra Daemon fallout because of that? No, for say that
Mhm.
he undermined our authority by carrying out this mission without her consent. Because
Mm-hmm.
with the books, it was sort of implied that Rhaenyra was in on it, right? The blood and cheese part. She was aware and she was okay and she gave the go ahead, right? But what the show makes it seem like, it's like this was
She
just a
clear.
Daemon solo
Damien,
mission.
yeah.
Yeah, like she just
So
said Amen, and that was it. I want
She said
Amen.
Amen. She just said
Yeah.
right,
I want Amen, and that was it.
right.
I'm
So
just hoping
what
that, I'm just mad at this. Not mad, but I'm just disappointed. I waited 2 years, like when it was like 8 o'clock. It was 8 o'clock, an hour before showtime. I'm like, it's finally here. Like I can't believe it. Like I got one more hour to wait. Like, and then it was like
Same
9:05,
here.
and I'm like, oh my God, I'm late. I can't believe I'm late. Like, and I hurry up and got on it, and then I was watching it, and I was like into it, but then I'm like, oh man, I don't want to be a fanboy and just be super happy that it's back on, because I feel everybody's like, oh, it was great, it was wonderful, it was great, I can't believe it. And I'm like, they're just fans and I get it. And I don't want to be arguing with people about it. But at the same time, like, once you watch this episode 2 or 3 times and you go back and see, you'll be like, that's what I wanted to say. Mysaria. Why was she even in the show? Like, what did she do? Like, she was all of a sudden, they go on a boat. There she is sitting there. They grab her. They take her to Damon. Damon accuses her siding with the high towers. And then he comes back and she's free. And then it's blood and cheese. Like, it just was like even Laris pulling Aegon to the side. It's like every character, they gave them screen time that's in the show. Corliss had screen time. Like, I don't know. Like, then you have Rhaenys getting mad at Damon. And she's like, I scoured the seas and I've been protecting, but you haven't fought anyone. Like, we're about to go to King's Landing and do something. And she rebels and tells him, you're not the king and all that. It's like, Team Black, you're losing me. Like, come on. Like, it just had meaningless scenes that I just didn't get. What do you guys think?
No, for that one, man, I agree partially. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the rainy scene. So with the rainy scene, right, I'm half and half with that.
Okay.
Last season, when they decided to do the whole thing, because that was the series that decided to put her in that position where she could have wiped out everybody
Yeah.
and she didn't. I
Right.
was like, well, that was an interesting choice. Then that's obviously supposed to be something they're supposed to talk
Well,
about later. So
I
when
look at it like
Damon,
what my grandmother used to tell me. If they did it that way, we wouldn't have a TV show because she would have killed everyone right then and there, and then right there would have got the throne, and it would be no show. So you
But
couldn't do
right,
that.
but I'm saying but that was a choice that they made that wasn't in the book. So that was a series original choice, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when they
Stupid.
spoke about that, so having some contention about that, I could understand. But what I agree with Rainey's with is that Damon is not in charge, right?
Right, true.
exactly.
It's Rhaenyra's in charge, so he doesn't have the power to order her around, and
Mhm.
he's not supposed
Right.
to be
And if
making
she
these
follows his
moves
orders,
without
she could
her.
do something wrong, and then her life's on the line.
Right.
Yeah.
And what she's been doing is what she promised Rhaenyra she would do. Because in season 1, she did say, I will block the gullet, right?
Yes.
And stop the trade.
Mhm.
And that has been successful,
Yes.
right? Because they've been complaining in King's Landing that
About
them that
that.
have the resources.
Yeah, they did have that small council meeting. They did have that small
Yeah.
council meeting about it being jammed up, and Aemon was like, "I'm going to take Vhagar and burn them all up."
Right.
But even the council meeting was a joke.
But
The council meeting was a joke too.
yeah, but the council meeting being a joke was supposed to show how disorganized. I think this episode, what I could give them
Right.
is that it showed that both sides have some division and some disunity, right? More so on the green side
Right.
because we had too much schemers on the green. Because we have Otto and Allison who won, control over Aegon. We have Loris now that he's planning something, his own ends where we don't know about.
Made it. What do you think?
I think
Sir
Lars is
Larry
mad
thinks
that
so?
I think Lars is going to be mad because he ain't going to get to see them feet no more.
No, but what do you think he is up to? Because clearly he's after something because he's so deceitful. He's
I
scheme a
think that
lot.
what he's trying to do, he's trying to get Otto out the way because Otto has too much power, and he knows if he can get Otto out the way, then now Allison will be relying on Larys more because he's been her friend since she was 15 years old. He's the one that told her about the tea Rhaenyra drank. You know what I mean? He's been feeding her things all these years to the point where if he gets Otto out the way, then he's going to have more influence. And maybe somewhere in his mind, he has an inclination of he's trying to get Rhaenyra. You know, when we love somebody or we want to be with somebody, if we think we got a shot or we think it's a long shot, we still try.
Right.
And whether he doesn't have any shot, he's still going to shoot his shot and see if it can go in,
Right. So, but this entire, her with Kristen Cole thing, because he's aware of it. And, they had
he
that.
told her, because he told her that she was at brunch. He said, I tried to get a hold of you, but you were at brunch.
Yeah. You are predisposed.
And the only one that was at brunch was Cole.
Right.
I couldn't believe that. That shocked me, man. Like, I couldn't believe it.
Shocked. I wasn't.
No, the thing is, you mentioned that part, right? So they're clearly setting up Cole and Allison's affair. I'm wondering where they're going with it, right? Because if I remember in the books, it wasn't stated that they were involved. It was more like he was her shadow, like he was always with her. Like some people said, they were involved,
but it never said.
But no, it is clear because more than one scene. No,
I don't know. The thing is, Melee, right? I'm disappointed. I'm happy that it's back. I'm disappointed with certain scene. The blood and cheese scene is number one, but I don't know. I'm still, since it's just episode one, I want to be hopeful that the
Right.
writing is going to still be there and they will show up some stuff in the
I
later
agree.
episode.
Now, when you go on YouTube, do you listen to the Three Eyed Raven? You know what that channel is?
That channel, Three Eyed
No.
Raven? No, I don't know that
What's
one.
the name of it?
It's called the
Three-Eyed
Three Eyed
Raven?
Raven. There are a
Okay.
bunch of channels that are just solely dedicated to the House of the Dragon. Like if you type in your search bar House Targaryen or House of the Dragon, all these
I know
different
it's
channels come up. Like, so I've been watching tidbits. Like some channels, it seems like is HBO running this because they're not getting flagged and they got all type of scenes from the show in there and different spoilers, and they've been saying what was going to happen, and they had pictures from the show, like that episodes we haven't seen. Like they had pictures of Blood and Cheese. I knew what Blood and Cheese looked like before the show came out. Like there's a lot of channels that are actually plugged into the show. So the thing that was a little bit disappointing was that everyone's saying it was great, and I'm like, it wasn't horrible. I'm very excited that it's back. I want to see what happens because I am a fan of the book, the shows, all of it. But
Yeah.
just for waiting 2 years, I just feel
Yeah.
like you had 2 years. Like you had 2 years, and this was
Yeah.
the best Blood and Cheese you could give us. This was the best
Yeah.
upset Rhaenyra you could give us. You didn't have anyone confront Aemon about what he just did. Like, good God Almighty! Like,
It's
and it
like
just
this.
scares me
It's like
that
the
they're going to
episode
just
done,
give
and
us
you're still looking
dragons.
for more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No.
like when the episode and you're still looking for more. You
Yeah,
understand?
yeah.
Like, historically, they've always opened like the seasons
Slow.
slow from Game of
Right.
Thrones, like, right? But we understand that. But
I was hoping it wouldn't because we're only getting 8 episodes. We're going to get
yeah,
8
that's true.
episodes. We're going to get 8 weeks of a show, and then we're liable to have to wait 19, 20 months
And you know
for
what? Too?
season
Why
3.
me think say it would have more exciting because the way it ends. The way
Now,
it
what
ends,
they
it better start with a blast.
well,
Mm.
season 2, I think that season 2 is going to
Vivian,
end.
thanks for coming, darling.
Season 2 is going to end with Rhaenys getting killed because they showed a scene where they bring Meleys, her dragon's head. They bring him through town. They bring her dragon's head.
They leaked that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like
I
if
didn't
you
know
watch
that was
these other
leaked.
channels, you get to see all this stuff. So it's like I read the book, so it's not like they don't
It's a
tell you what's
spoiler,
going to
man.
happen. So you know what I mean. I already know the spoilers pretty much, and they might change some things. So you still will get some surprises, but they're definitely going to bring Meleys's head through the town because once the word gets out about what Blood and Cheese did, like.
Yeah.
King's Landing goes berserk. Like they start calling her Rhaenyra the Cruel, and she
Mm.
gets blamed for it, and it's all bad as far as people, they're not siding with Rhaenyra anymore.
Yeah,
Right.
because
We all know that Viserys dropped the ball. What he should have did was step down while he was still alive and made Rhaenyra the queen, and then that would
yeah.
have solved everything. But we wouldn't have a show if he did that
Yeah, we
too.
wouldn't have a show like this.
You know what I mean? So he had to do dumb stuff. Alicent thinking that he's talking about Aegon and like the knife, the Song of Ice and Fire that's burned into the knife, that's going to get lost because she's
Right.
not telling anyone about it. Like it's got a lot for us to bite into. You know what I mean? And only thing I don't want to see is it all of a sudden turn into dragon fighting, a bunch of dragons in Dracarys and burning this one up, and it
But-
turn
but-
into the Expendables or an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Like keep the stories that intrigued us, like the
Right.
fact that Alicent and Rhaenyra, are they going to speak again? Are they going to have a face-to-face? Like You know, like we got some things to look forward to.
Right. So that's, what everybody is worried about is it going down the Game of Thrones, the last set of season route, where, we
What you guys
destroyed
think
all of the
about that?
characters just for battle scenes and cool looking scenes and visuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
What do you think about the Game of Thrones with Jon Snow killing Rhaenyra? I mean
wait,
Daenerys.
Daenerys.
oh my God. No, I try to not remember that season at all.
That
I
was
don't want
sad.
to. I was I was just so disappointed with everything. Like, we've been hearing winter is coming from season one, and we've been building up. So I knew that the books aren't finished, and
Right, right.
Winter is not
That's what
out yet.
hurt
It's
it
still
because they
going
had
on.
to make up the last 3 seasons. They had to make it up.
Right. So we knew that they had no source material to work with, and and as they ran out of source material, like, they had to simplify some plots, omit plots in general, um, made some characters a lot stupider than they would have been in the books. They had to
Right.
do a lot of things, because the thing about the type of fantasy that Game of Thrones and House of Dragon is that it's not really about the war and the violence. It's about the characters and the
Right.
human elements
Right.
driving it. And I think when you lose sight of that, that's when you start to lose the show. And that's what happened with Game of Thrones. Like, they got a bit too into,
I see it.
we having these cool
That's
special effects.
coming.
We've been doing these new things, the fire and the burning effects. Because I
Yeah.
thought they broke our world record for it or so. And they got way into that and forgot that, we still have these characters that people love and are well developed in the novels, and people expect them to come to some good conclusion. Uh, Game of Thrones was so disappointing, but the thing with House of Dragon is that the source material is there, it's finished, right?
Yes.
You don't have to be pulling from thin air. So you have stuff to work with. And it's written in such a way that you can insert certain reasons and you can put your little surprises like what they did in season one.
Something
Everybody, you
something
can
I just thought of. Something I just thought of. What in season 1 of Game of Thrones? You remember when Jamie Lannister pushed Bran out that window? We
Yeah,
hated him. We hated
yeah.
him. But by
With
the time it was
passion.
over, they redeemed his character. Like, he went to the north, he kept his word. Like, he went back and he saved Brienne. Like, it was like the character, you saw his arc of him being a piece of crap and a no good, sleeping with his
Yeah,
sister, to
yeah.
trying to do the right thing and trying to become a good guy. And then you see him
And
loving
then he ended up right
Marcella.
back. Yeah.
Like, he had a moment where he told her, "I'm your father," and they had that little moment right before she died. And that's like the
right.
blood and cheese. They could have made us hate the blacks, but then, like, when Aegon feeds her to Sunfire, like, we can come back, and like, they just dropped the ball. I can't keep going back to that. It hurts me because that's one of the biggest things in the book, like blood and cheese, like, and they just like boop, boop, real fast over it, guys. I'm sorry to keep bringing it up, but like, God.
No,
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 it's
no, no.
okay.
I understand, because that was the scene that everyone was
Yeah, because
looking
they
forward
they
to.
was hyping up that. That was the hype.
Yeah, because that's most of the book readers, we've been saying blood and cheese. Because once the episode title dropped, Son for Son, everybody's like, "Ah, man, you can't miss it. We're going to start season one with a
Yeah,
bang," right?
that's what I thought.
Right. And it was more of a whimper, to be honest. But
I'm like watching and I'm waiting and I'm watching and I'm waiting
I
and
really just hope that that wasn't the last of Cregan Stark. We just get like what
Yeah,
20 seconds of him, because
because
but
what's
if
the
you
reason to go back to the north now? He
right,
said
there's
there's
no,
no.
exactly,
and we
exactly.
are, like you mentioned, we only have 8 episodes, so we now go those parts where I don't know, man. Like, eesh.
You're right. I'm right
Maybe
with
just
you
my
because you know
expectations as a reader.
one thing that we got to all remember is, you know, the Starks, man. That was the one place in Game of Thrones where you could get some good. You know, like
Mm.
people
Yeah.
acting with honor and integrity is in the North. The people from the
Yeah.
North like kind of acted like civilized people. Whereas everyone else, you know, because I think because of the cold, you ain't got time to be doing goofy stuff, running around, being
A
silly.
good
It's too
point.
Not
cold. You know what I
even
mean? We gotta chop we gotta chop this wood and get this hay in here because it's
Yeah.
cold. Like, and
Yeah.
they were good people. They relied on each other and you know, they didn't trust the South. And so the Starks were good people. And then you got Cregan and they bring them in and they're like they hyped it up, beat like the other channels that I was mentioning. Like they were hyping it up like Jason Cregan have this big bond and they're doing good. And like they just skipped over the
Right.
part when he went to see Jane Eyre to get her co-signment. Like we missed all
That
that.
was
And
the
then he went
part.
to the
That
north and
really, that part with the Jane Eyre, that part I really was looking forward to. I wanted to see him fly down there, and when she spoke to him about, this, about the walls being impenetrable, the only thing that she fears is, just somebody dropping down out of the sky with them dragon like he did so easily. That
Mhm.
was something I don't know. They skipped over a lot of things I was looking forward to for episode one. So I'm not sure.
Well, okay, for a switch up, guys. What did you like about this episode one?
The positives. All right, yeah. We've been very negative, so let's talk about what we like for real.
Yeah.
All right, for me, I thought they did the standout for me. The scene that I liked the most was when Jace returned and he was giving her, he was like gives his report about the allies that he
Mhm.
recruited, right? So when he was there trying to be formal and then breaking down because his brother died and he got that news, and that was a long flight back to Dragonstone. I thought that part was also well acted, and I thought I felt something in that moment, like when he was trying to just
And it breaks down, get emotional.
yeah, that part got me. Um,
Yeah.
what else did I like
I
this?
like the part where Allison. I appreciated Allison and Otto having that conversation where she was like, Aemon's angry. He never felt like he got justice, and I could understand that. They took my eye
Mhm.
and nothing happened. And she was talking about Aegon will get bored and he's just, we can get control back. Like, that was a interesting conversation. And I also like the part when Damon went to King's Landing, like he snuck in, he got that gold cloak, you know what I mean, and put that gold sack up there and bribed them like only money can do,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So what
Somebody
about
said
you,
somebody said a gold
Voice?
sack in front of you, man. Ooh-wee.
Me,
What was your favorite scene from this episode?
to be honest, the scene with Renier when Renier found the dragon wing and the seaside, but I was really looking for more grief from her,
Mhm.
I was really
Oh,
looking
Yeah.
for more. Yeah.
I thought they did a good job showing that even though we didn't spend the actual minutes showing her
I'm just
riding
saying she's in
around searching
denial
for
or
him.
something why she don't know.
I thought they did a good with the special effects because you could see that she looked tired and she was dirty. Yeah, her
Yeah,
hair
and the
was
way she
tousled.
jumped
You
off
could
that
see that
dragon, like
she's
she
at it.
she slid off the dragon and ran, like
Yes,
Yeah.
like,
But we should have seen more
that
of her searching for
that was very good effects, by the way, because she didn't hesitate. She just dismounted, quickly. Cyrax, she jumped off of
uh,
Cyrax quickly, and so that.
but like she said, like if you get just imagine this, guys, if you're at home and you get a phone call, your child's in a car accident, they're at the hospital.
Mhm.
You're driving to the hospital, you're praying, please, Lord, don't let nothing happen to my child. Please, please, please. Like, you're talking to yourself, you're calming yourself down. He's going to be okay. He's not even going to think negative. Like, everyone's going to have a different vibe of conversation. Like, she should have been on that dragon flying around looking for him. Like, come on,
Yeah,
Jace. Or
right.
where are you at? I know you're out here, baby. I'm going
That
to
is
find
what
you.
I was looking
Like
for.
they could
Yeah.
have did that. And then then you have her just go downhill because then she finds out, oh God, here's this dragon. It's torn to shreds. And then you don't know because there was no body. Like, is he going to be a fisherman with amnesia? And maybe he'll show up in
that
season
theory.
4. You never know. And then I'm wondering this. Well, you know what would be a mean surprise? If Laenor comes back.
I don't think he's coming back. I really don't think he's coming back.
But when his mom gets killed, that might bring him back.
I don't think he's coming back because all right, let me tell you why. Because they cast so Alan and Aaron of Hall, right? They're both cast. And
what's his name's Bastard?
Yeah.
Bastard.
Corlys's bastards, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we do know that, Sea Smoke is going to bond
Sea Smoke
with.
is supposed to be written by one of the
one with the
dragon
dreads. I think he's the one that's going to ride them.
Yeah,
so
one of the dragon.
That's why I think Laenor is not coming back.
Well, he might come back and maybe he can't ride. I don't know.
How many unclaimed dragons are there this season? 3? How much unclaimed dragons?
There's a good
6.
amount. So then you have the wild
6.
ones. It's about 6, right?
Yeah.
You have Vermator.
You got Vermator, Sheep Stealer, Vermator, Sheep Stealer, Sea Smoke,
Silverwing.
Silverwing. Oh God. Yeah, there's 2 more.
Grego. No, there's the shy dragon that I don't remember what they call him. There's one that just eats fish and is very elusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess they said they're not nettles. They didn't.
Oh my gosh! Don't remind me. I'm still hoping that that's just rumors that they really didn't cut nettles.
They said the reason I'm thinking that it's not the rumor is because Baela is going to ride Sheep Stealer, and that's
heard that
the dragon. Yep.
I heard that going around as well. I think I watched someone talking about that. It's like they're dividing Nettles' part and giving most of it to Baela.
Yeah, because Baela didn't have much action going on.
Right. And I don't really know how I feel about that. I was looking forward to Nettles because out of the dragon seeds, she was my favorite.
Yeah, and she has a fling with Daemon that kind of drives Rhaenyra and Daemon apart. Nettles.
Right. So I think they're going to change. They can't follow up with that plot point. I'm wondering if they're going to find some other reason to drive Rhaenyra and Daemon apart. I think they're going with. I think the reason they're going with in the show is probably Aemma undermining her authority.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they're setting it up for that instead of
Yeah, because they've been showing that scene where she says, "Do you accept me as your queen and ruler?"
Right.
And he doesn't answer, so they're guess he's giving her problems.
Right. And what I think with this Blood and Cheese setup is that right when her publicity takes a hit for killing for the death of the little boy, I think that's going to start to drive a wedge between them as well, because this wasn't what she ordered.
Right.
It wasn't like in the books where it was just a son for a son. I just want revenge. She was very specific about her revenge in the show, so that part I think might
see. That's why I think they did it like that because of budget reasons. They couldn't afford Nettles. They couldn't afford to bring another castmate on, so They take Nettles' dragon flying part, they give it to Bela, who's already cast. So now they got to have a reason for Damon and Rhaenyra falling apart. So they make it the blood and cheese. That's why she comes with this, I want Aemon. And then it ends up being Jaehaerys that gets killed, a 4-year-old, and it makes her lose standing with the people, and she's not happy about it.
But what I'm wondering, Melee, is if they're giving Bela Sheep Stealer, what happens to Bela's dragon? Because she did get a dragon later on in the story, right? It was a small dragon, but
yeah, Bela. What's it? Bela and Rhaena.
Yeah, Bela.
Rhaena already has a dragon. If you remember, if you think back to, I think it was episode 6 in House of the Dragon season 1, when Daemon and his wife, I forget her name, Laenor's sister, Laena, when they were on Pontos, and the guy was asking them to stay, and he'll fill their cup, overflow their cup with gold. And she was like, Damon, I want my daughter to be this and that. Well, remember when the one little girl asked her mom, she said, is the guy, whatever that guy's name was, she said, is he going to let me stay? And she laughed. She said, why would you say that? She said, because you and Dad and Bela, and Rhaena have dragons and I don't.
Right.
Remember? And she was like, you'll get a dragon. I didn't get my dragon until I got Vhagar, and I wasn't, you'll get one. So
I remember that part. And that was part of why the kids were fighting too, because Bela wanted to try to bond with Vhagar. And for her, Aemon robbed her of that opportunity. Because he was quick about it. That was my favorite scene from season 1, though. The bonding. That was
what else I want to ask you guys? What do you think about Helaena? Because now she had the thing where when Alicent said to Aemon, you'll get a dragon, when they gave him the pink dread, the pig, she was like, you'll get a dragon. Helaena said, but he'll have to close an eye. And then she said the beast beneath the boards. And then in season 1, she says to Aegon, episode 1, she says to Aegon, I'm scared. I'm scared of rats.
Right.
You have the ability to see into the future, and you didn't help any of your family. You let all 3 things happen. Like, what the heck is going on? Is she autistic? Is she autistic? I don't understand it.
She doesn't speak. She doesn't talk about the dreams.
They aren't specific with it in the show, but it's like the way the character is. I think she's sort of kind of implied. It's implied that she's autistic. Like she's on the spectrum.
See that, and then in turn that says to me, like, doesn't her family realize, like, why would they make her be the queen? Like, she's not fit to be the queen. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't even imagine her having sex. Does she want to have sex? She seems like she's just out there. She's not into anything that's going on.
Yes, she couldn't care less.
You got her with all these kids, and now she's talking about don't interrupt his schooling, and maybe he don't want. Like, one minute she's normal, and then the next minute she knows her brother's about to get his eye torn out, and she doesn't say anything. She knows that her son's about to get murdered by the rat catcher. She doesn't say anything. Like, it doesn't make sense with some of the things they're doing.
She's the only innocent one in the show so far.
She's
she's the only innocent
person you can actually like and have sympathy for.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm wondering how if they're going to ever go into details about that. I'm saying, is it her powers or her visions or whatever, however they're going to present that? Is it what's affecting her?
And she has a dragon. What's her dragon's name? Dreamfire?
Yeah, Dreamfire. And Dreamfire is huge.
Yeah, she has a dragon. I've never seen her ride it. Like, some of the things they're doing just doesn't make sense.
When they were going back to King's Landing, when we saw Vega, Sunfire, and Dreamfire take off like the 3-4 greens.
Yeah, after what's her name's funeral.
Yeah, after Lena's funeral.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Sunfire, how the design for Sunfire.
Yeah, they keep saying he's so beautiful. The gold dragon.
Yeah, so that's what because that we were supposed to see him in season 1, but they changed the scene and they gave that dragon scene to Rhaenys instead. When they did, the Melees breaking up from behind the fort.
Because he was supposed to. What they said, he was supposed to fly around the city like 3 times or something.
Yes, yeah, that.
But they gave Melees coming up through the floor.
But Melee, what do you think about the innocent people in all of this? Because when Melees broke up from out the floor, right? The amount of people
there was thousands of people in there, man, and she just came up through the floor. Everybody else died, and she didn't even get a bump on the head. You just came up through the floor on the dragon, didn't you didn't even have a helmet on? She should have been dead too.
Right, and it's
like Jesus Christ. These people just do. If you got a dragon, you can do anything.
Right.
Like Aemon, man, that dragon, when Aemon got on Vhagar tried to get him off. He flew straight up, man. He was hanging on for dear life,
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. I ain't gonna lie though. A little thing with me, it's crazy because when I started watching Game of Thrones, I was lucky. I'm gonna tell you why I was lucky. Because when I started watching Game of Thrones, I didn't watch it till the pandemic happened, and it was already over. So I never had to wait for a season. When I was looking for something to watch, so I watched episode 1, and then I watched from 1 all the way to 8.
And that was good.
Lucky, you know what I mean? It probably took me I'd say maybe 8 months to get through all of that. So the end of 2020 to end of 21, I was watching Game of Thrones. So then when that went off, 2022, House of Dragons came on. So I was like, yo, this is great. I'm just and then 2 years went by. I'm like, oh, I can't take this.
So you joined the regular fans who had to wait between seasons.
Yeah. It was so good just binge watching Game of Thrones for the first time. That was one of the highlights of my life, I guess, that I didn't have to wait and I didn't know nothing about it. I didn't force myself till it was over. One day I watched it and I watched the next one and then I watched all 8 seasons. And when Daenerys got killed, I was disappointed. I went online, I started looking it up and I'm like, then I had to go. Then I started to go. That's when I started reading the books.
I was very disappointed.
After Game of Thrones, yep. I went and bought the. I started buying the book, and I bought the Dance of the Dragons, Fire and Blood. And, I read that, and then I just started buying the book. So now I'm just in that process of getting them all. This wins the winner though. George, is he going to die?
A lot of people are wondering that. I don't know why. For me, man, I think he's the second or third author that is writing a long running story that seems like it's not going to be finished before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at him. He's not in good shape, and he's old. And he could have a heart attack eating a sandwich. You know what I mean? When you get old, one thing you don't see is you don't see 80-year-old overweight people. You know what I mean? When you're overweight, you get about 65, you might get to 70 if you're one of the few. You don't see people that are overweight get to be really old, and he's got to be 68, 75 somewhere in there. So I'm like,
Yeah, there's some
I'm
fans
wondering
about that.
I'm wondering, like, did he maybe finish it and he's just waiting to die, and then it'll be released, and then no one can tell him, "Oh, you messed it up. I don't like how you did it." Like, he won't have to hear it. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
because you know fans will.
this is it, and I'm leaving that to the world, and I don't want to hear about it.
That's an interesting theory. All right, Melee, we really thank you for coming on. You
Hey, what
really
I'm gonna
have.
do, I'm gonna subscribe to your channel, and then maybe next week we can pick this up and talk about episode 2, guys.
No, I would love to have you
I'd
back.
love to have you.
All right,
Okay,
guys.
not a problem. Hey,
Appreciate
what's your
you.
guy's name? What's your name?
Voice out. Express yourself.
And voice, express yourself. You said.
Voice out. Voice
Vice out.
out. Express
Okay.
yourself.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm Melee all day. That's my channel, but my real name is James. And I'll see you guys. Will you be
What's your
doing it
channel?
on?
What's your channel name?
Melee all day.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a couple other channels. Like, I got a big channel. I do podcasts with another guy, but my Melee all day, that's just where I just go to talk my little stuff about life and what I don't like, or, you know, just go to, I don't worry about losing that channel. I've lost it 100 times. You know, they'll take it because someone gets mad at me for something I might say. Like one time I said, one time I don't ever say false flag. Like, don't talk about the government, any governments, and say false flag. I said false flag and they took my channel. Like, but it was
Oh
what
my
I
God.
said with the false flag, you know. So I've learned about different things, you know. Like, if I lost my channel talking about coronavirus, like, it's crazy the things that they say free
Yeah, they don't
speech,
want to
and
hear
then
about that.
they turn around and take your channel. Like, I'm a black guy. My dad's
Yeah.
white and my mom is black, and people come online and say nigger, 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 and they keep their channel. But if you come online and say something about coronavirus, they'll take your channel. It's crazy what YouTube does, man. Like, they allow racism against certain people, but if you say anything free Palestine or say anything bad about Jewish person, your channel's gone. Channel's gone. But I'm not getting in. I don't bring any hassle. But are you guys going to do it on Monday, or will you be doing it on Sunday?
Sunday.
Sunday after the show?
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you guys next week.
All right.
All right. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Had a great time, guys. See you next week.
Next week. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Guys, Patila, Vivian, Mars, thanks for coming, guys. I love and appreciate you all. Good night, guys.